Ramaphosa calls out South Africans for reckless behavior. But seriously, a cloth mask is not something that is difficult to get. Even your t-shirt, even your scarf, even a piece of your clothing can be put over your nose and your mouth. President Cyril Ramaphosa gave a stern dressing down to South Africans. In an unfamiliar tone, Ramaphosa delivered a sharp reprimand to South Africans who refused to abide during his address to the nation on Sunday evening. The president began by acknowledging that the storm of the peak had arrived but had strong words against reckless behavior, saying we are not helpless in the face of this storm. A big focus of his speech was espousing behavioral change, with the president announcing that wearing masks is mandatory, with penalties for those who do not enforce it in buildings, shops, and taxis. Owners of public buildings and public transport operators would be legally obliged to ensure people on their premises wore masks, while the country would remain on level 3 of the lockdown regulations. The sale and distribution of alcohol were immediately banned. We are by now all familiar with what we need to do to protect ourselves and others from infection. We need to wear a cloth mask that covers our nose and mouth whenever we leave home. We must continue to regularly wash our hands with soap and water or sanitizer. We must continue to clean and sanitize all surfaces in all public spaces. Most importantly, we must keep a safe distance of at least 2 meters from other people. There is now emerging evidence that it may also be carried in tiny particles in the air in places that are crowded, closed, or have poor air circulation. For this reason, we must immediately improve the indoor environment of public places where the risk of infection is greatest. Ramaphosa's address comes after weeks of criticism from his opponents in opposition parties who questioned his silence. The president had last addressed the nation last month when he announced a readjusted Alert Level 3, which saw the sale of alcohol being reintroduced. Alcohol ban. The EFF responded to the reinstatement of the alcohol ban with a proverbial "I told you so," while the DA said Ramaphosa was diverting attention from real issues like the government's failure to build treatment and testing capacity. The ban on alcohol sales comes as a victory for Eastern Cape Premier Oscar Mabuyane, who called for it a week after it was reintroduced. Other premiers weighed in, raising concern about overwhelmed public healthcare systems in various provinces. Ramaphosa seems to be in agreement. In his address on Sunday evening, he said there is clear evidence that the resumption of alcohol sales has resulted in substantial pressure being put on hospitals, including trauma and intensive care units, due to motor vehicle accidents, violence, and related trauma. Most of these and other trauma injuries occur at night. Therefore, as an additional measure to reduce the pressure on hospitals, a curfew will be put in place between the hours of 9 p.m. and 4 a.m., the president said. The immediate ban on the sale of alcohol could become a bone of contention for Ramaphosa's cabinet in the coming weeks, with many caught by surprise. Concessions. The president conceded that the National Command Council and Cabinet have considered returning all or parts of the country to a higher alert level, either to level 4 or level 5, but that suggestion was proved to be moot. The advice we have received is that taking this step now would not necessarily achieve a significant reduction in the rate of transmission and would come at an extraordinary economic cost, putting more livelihoods at risk and potentially causing long-lasting social harm, he said. The biggest concession Ramaphosa made was allowing taxis to operate at 100% capacity for short-distance trips. Taxis which travel further than 200 kilometers should have a maximum capacity of 70%. But Ramaphosa said mask wearing and the opening of windows would be required. The president also announced the reopening of parks for exercise purposes, while the regulations stipulate that masks are no longer required for strenuous exercise as long as a 3-meter social distance is maintained.